If the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I Spit in Your Grave, and Deliverance had a three-way, this movie would be the fucked up love child spawned from that unholy union. We watched the 1980 Mother's Day. We watched it so you don't have to. So you know what time it is.
Horror, so bad it's scary. Splitting up is never okay. Plot, who needs it? Don't turn on the lights. Cars don't ever start, but that's alright. Running upstairs instead of out the door. Good acting, what do we need that for? Horrible horror, so bad it's scary. Enjoy the show, but not really.
Happy Mother's Day, Moon Goons. It is obviously Mother's Day, and this is the Horrible Horror Podcast, where we watch the worst of the worst in horror movies. Movies so bad they're scary. I'm your host, Marshall Hampton. With me is as always, is my hetero life mate, Mr. Aaron Southworth.
I like that one, hetero life mate. Yeah. Happy Mother's Day to our Moon Goon mommies out there. I know there's a couple. So, hey, you popped out some kids. That's probably one of the most horrific things I think that's ever happened. And so, congratulations. You're alive still. You know,
You didn't die like you would have been possibly in the Middle Ages.
Right,
So good on you.
way to raise brats.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, this is Mother's Day, like we said 3 times now. So we dug up.
Guess what movie we watched?
Yeah, guess what movie? We watched the 1980 Mother's Day horror
Cult
movie. It's
Yeah.
fucking weird.
I wouldn't call it a cult classic.
No.
I would call it a cult movie,
cult
though.
movie.
for
Yeah, I would
sure.
call it classic.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was released on September 19th of 1980. Basic hour 30-minute runtime. It's not the easiest thing to find, I don't believe. I found it on Amazon with a subscription to their side thing called Shudder. I know you can find it on disc in some places.
I found it on Xbox, the Microsoft streaming system.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Lucky you. I didn't look
They
there.
had both the 2012 and 1980 version.
All right. Well, awesome. So there you go. It was written by Charles Kaufman and Warren Light and directed by Charles Kaufman. And if the Kaufman name sounds familiar, that's because this is Lloyd Kaufman's brother.
Yes.
And Lloyd Kaufman is the owner, founder, and all that of the Troma.
The Troma King.
Troma King.
Yeah, we've done a couple Lloyd Kaufman films on here before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The cast is really nothing to really brag about or talk about because most of the people have never really went on to do anything else.
And that's a Troma hallmark. I mean, they don't ever get big stars or big anything. They just kind of
Or at
use...
least at the time.
Right.
Yeah. The only people worth mentioning in the cast is Peter Fox, who plays Dauber, who is a really useless throwaway character in this movie. Only thing noteworthy for horror fans is that he played Wilson in the movie Night of the Comet. So there's a horror connection. And then the only other person that did anything really is Frederick Coffin, a.k.a. Holden McGuire, as is known in this movie, where he has 98 credits to his name. And some big movies, some big projects. He was in the Steven Seagal's Hard to Kill, Wayne's World, the 2000, I think it was 3 movie Identity, and a bunch of TV spots and voiceover work. So he's the most successful out of the cast.
Did he do any X-Men voiceover work?
I don't think it was X-Men, but he might have done like a Spider-Man or something. I don't know.
That's funny.
So that's really all there is to it for intro stuff.
And who was he in the movie? Was he the guy in the beginning?
He was
Yeah.
Ike. He was
Oh,
Ike.
okay.
All right, so let's jump into the movie. The movie itself opens at some like hippy dippy motivational speaking thing.
Yeah, it's like a room full of people.
Yeah, it's just
and
like-
they look bored at first.
They do look bored out of their fucking mind.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden there's a guy on the stage and he's motivational speaker for EGO, the Ego group.
Yeah, which is like the Eugene Go.
They didn't even say what the acronym was.
No, there was
Yeah.
a banner back where it did say.
No, I didn't read it.
Yeah, there was a banner, but it was like Eugene Go Opportunities or something like that. It was something really stupid.
Yeah.
So the crowd looks bored as shit.
But he says, "Go get them! You're all graduates!" Yay!
Yeah. So apparently this is like some class or something. Like,
There's a lot of people in there too.
Yeah, this seems like something that would definitely be like a scam nowadays or something.
Oh yeah.
and
Very
so-
Joel Osteen-esque.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that guy's such a scam fuck. Okay.
So once the thing's over and everybody's done jerking each other off and being happy and all this stuff. These two hippies are talking to this elderly woman who offers them a ride home.
She's got a neck brace.
Yeah, she wears a neck brace throughout this entire movie.
You know what she looks like? She kind of looks like, you ever watch Ernest movies and how he does the different characters?
God, long
One
time.
of his characters is an old lady who talks like this,
Oh, you
very
think-
proper, and she's got a neck brace on. She looks like an actual living version.
You think it's like Ernest in old makeup?
Of Ernest's caricature of an old lady, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, so
I wonder if that's where he got the inspiration.
That is kind of funny. I think this was a movie before any of the Ernest movies,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
So we cut to the three of those driving down these rural backwood roads while chit-chatting. And, yeah, we mentioned the old woman who wears a neck brace throughout this whole movie. And the two hippies suddenly take a really dark turn.
Yeah, they go from like, oh, I love you, and oh, peace, blah. And then
Like,
they just
we're
start-
gonna fucking kill you.
well, they don't say it.
I
But
know, but like the look in their eyes is
it
like,
gets real ominous. Like
Yeah.
the mood changes real. Like the lady doesn't notice it though.
no. Because the man in the back seat, he's looking like he's like preparing a rope to strangle the woman with. Like he's tying up like little knot, like handholds and all this stuff. And the hippie chick's just like staring like daggers into this older woman. Like this,
Yeah, she
like,
went from
evil
being,
intent.
flowers and,
Yeah.
moonbeams to, death stare.
Yeah, and she is an ugly woman too. She is
Huh.
not an attractive woman. Anyway, so the car like blows a tire or something, but it sounds like the car just starts farting. It's really bad. I thought it's like
Too much gas?
yeah. So the old woman gets out of the car and checks under the hood. Now, this is when the hippie chick slides over to the driver's seat while the guy in the back is like edging her on to make their moves. Like, come on, do it now. And from out of nowhere, we see an arm with a machete like break through the side rear window and cleanly just chop the head off the hippie
Just
dude.
out of nowhere. Guy comes up, kills one slick movement,
Yeah.
bam, head is off the
through
shoulders.
the window, through the guy's neck, head off shoulders.
Blood spurting out of the neck hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
The
fun.
hippie chick, she's screaming, but she gets grabbed by this other guy and dragged out of the car.
Thrown on top of the
Yeah,
hood.
she's
or
thrown on top
the roof.
of
on
the roof of the
yeah.
car and just backhanded by this guy who turns out to be Ike. And the Ike who grabs her, he's wearing like this old pilot's like head cover. It's not a helmet. It's like the thing you wear that
Like
protects your head
it's like
from
almost
the
like
helmet.
a leather helmet. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a leather strap.
But it's not
helmet,
leather. It's
yeah.
like it. I think,
Headgear,
yeah,
yeah.
it's a headgear that goes between. It buffers the head from the helmet, and he immediately drops his pants, and while the other guy who had the machete leaps onto the roof of the car, just straight up vertical leap up onto the roof,
Pretty agile.
pushes the other guy away, rips the girl's shirt open, and he starts wailing on her like a goddamn UFC fighter.
Yeah, it's like
it's just ground and pound.
yeah, like the referee would have pulled him off right away.
Yeah.
Like he's beating the shit out of her.
Yeah, he is. And while all this is going on, the older woman is just standing there in the background, like
Got her
smiling
arms
away.
folded. She's looks so satisfied.
Yeah.
Like, there's my boys.
And
Mhm.
eventually she tells them to stop. And the girl's thrown to the ground, a bloody mess. She crawls over to the old woman, like begging for her life. And the old woman takes out this piece of rope from somewhere, wraps it around the hippie's neck, and kisses her, and then strangles her to death. Just kills her.
And that's the way we begin the movie.
Yeah. The old woman turns to the two guys, her sons, and says, "You two have made your mother very proud. Music sting, freeze frame, roll opening credits." Which I hate these opening credits. They're so fucking annoying, in my opinion. Because during the credit, it's just pictures like a slideshow show while these three girl voices are heard like yipping and yammering and laughing and trying to make funny jokes about each picture.
Why'd
and
you hate it?
I just thought it was, I don't know. I found it really, really annoying.
Well, it kind of was, but at the same time, at least it was kind of unique. I mean, this was, late 70s, early 80s. It was
Right.
1980. So they don't have,
Late 80.
like, this would be, like, girls on Facebook now looking at old pictures, and they had slideshows. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember watching a slideshow when I was a kid in the 80s.
Yeah.
So they're watching slideshows
I
of them
get
in
it.
college.
I see your point.
And it's like, it's kind of giving you an idea of these girls. They're pranksters. It's three girls who are
yeah,
good
it
buds.
gives you the backstory that they're a tight group of friends and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I just found it, the way they were acting was like seemed too much. I don't know. I found it annoying. That's just me. I didn't like it.
Marshall doesn't like girls.
Yeah, I hate girls.
No.
Fuck girls.
they're just being super girly and like 80s girly. Like,
yeah.
turned up to the max, dude.
Yeah. And during this kind of introduction, like we learned that the three of them call themselves the Rat Pack, and not the Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. Rat Pack. They just basically
stole the name,
call themselves the Rat Pack, and they're three female college friends who basically think they're super awesome at pranks and really cool. And
yeah, that's like their thing is like pranksters.
And this apparently happens at Wolf Breath College in 1970.
Where the fuck is that school?
Yeah, what is
like,
Wolf Breath?
That's like in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota.
Yeah,
that's like the only place I could imagine that place being.
Grant, we here locally we have a Wolf Branch Elementary School, but Wolf Breath College.
Wolf Breath. That just sounds
weird.
Ugh.
Yeah,
like that place smells.
Yeah, just
like
hot and steamy, just
like death and on your breath and blood. Ugh.
Which would be okay for a regular horror movie if it actually took place at a college, but it hasn't. You never see the college.
Great college name for a horror movie. Yeah, Wolf's Breath College. Sure,
but
never been there.
Never see it. You never see it again.
Well, we see the baseball field, but whatever.
Yeah. Once the credits are, we jump to this fancy dancy pool party, and this scene reminds me of something like Boogie Nights.
That's exactly what I wrote down. I was like, this is Boogie Nights party, but this is pre-Boogie Nights. This is 1980, and I'm seeing this, and I'm like, fuck yes.
Yeah.
I want to be there so bad.
I mean, there's this pretty blonde woman who's given, no, I'm sorry, not pretty. She's not that pretty. But during the party, this blonde woman is given a telegram by her elderly butler, who is dressed in a tuxedo coat and bow tie with no shirt.
Well, it's a pool party.
Right, but the guy's like in his 70s.
and let's just talk about this party, because I could talk about this party. I love this. This is probably my favorite scene in the movie. It probably is.
Dude, there's guys just snorting cocaine off like pewter serving trays.
Like
sterling silver
they
trays.
have like butlers serving lines of coke.
Yeah.
Like girls in bikinis everywhere. Like
girls rolling around on
roller skates all over. Old men, like we have age levels all the way from like 70s all the way to like just barely legal.
Yeah, there's like this 80-year-old guy who's like trying to hit on women by saying, "What is it that Kubrick said? That light and color great." Like trying to quote Kubrick.
And I love it. I love it. I want to be at this party. I mean, they got the cool black guy, they got the quirky old dude, they got the girls with the bikinis, they got coke serving trays. Yeah. Man, this place looks awesome.
Yeah. So, The woman that gets the telegram turns out to be Trina, and she's one of the three members of the Rat Pack. And she gets a telegram. It's basically like her invitation to like the Rat Pack reunion that they do every year or something like that.
And she's in L.A., so then it
obviously L.A. And then
cuts
it comes to Chicago, where we meet up with Abby coming home from shopping. And she just gets berated by her mother off.
As soon as she enters her apartment, it's just you just hear
"You
this
slut!"
This woman off screen saying, "I'm a sick woman. You're out running around with boys, being a whore. I'm a sick woman. You should take care of me." And oh my god, I wanted to strangle myself just to stop hearing this shit.
And she's calling her own daughter like a slut. You're out whoring around. She just rants and yells, and Abby's just like going through the mail and just finds her invitation.
And it's just rolling off Abby's back. Obviously, she's been hearing this so much. She's actually air quoting it. She's actually talking along to it because it's probably the same spiel she's been hearing for years now.
Now we cut to Jackie at her apartment. She's in New York.
So we got L.A., Chicago, New York. So these are city girls.
Yeah. And gee, I mean, could you get more stereotyped like the big three across the country?
Yeah.
Come on. She's in her apartment in New York, and she's packing for a trip when she gets grabbed from behind by some guy, but it just turns out to be her boyfriend, and it's a fake scare. And he steals $20 from her purse.
Yeah, and this is funny because I was writing this down. I was just like, freeloading douchebag artsy-fartsy dicks.
Yeah.
We're around in the 80s, and they're still around today.
She tells him she loves him and heads out, and on her way out, she tells the doorman to have a great weekend, and if he's free, he should try to get out and do something. And he snaps at her. He's like, and he yells like, "As long as I'm a black man, I'll never be free."
I love it. That was pretty funny.
And then this whole sequence of events is insane. Because as soon as he says, "I'm a black man, I'll never be free," it just jumps. It cuts to this elderly woman walking down the side street, just belting out opera.
Yeah.
While some crazy drunk dude stands on the sidewalk screaming, "Rockefeller makes $1 million a day. Rockefeller makes $1 million a day."
And she's just like, "This is New York."
Yeah. And this woman singing opera, and the black guy's yelling about being black, and it's just, what's going on?
New York looks like it's a fucking insane asylum.
Yeah, it does.
Take me back to L.A.
Yeah, like, it really does look like it's an insane asylum at that time. So I'm jumping ahead a few minutes because there's at some point there's really a lot of dull moments in this movie during the middle of
the
it.
first like, I chop it into 3 parts.
Yeah.
The first third of the movie is
Slow, yeah.
Man.
So I'm kind of I'll cover some of the stuff here, and some things we skip over. So the girls are driving Jackie's car. They're down some rural wooded roads, and they pass this wooden hand painted sign that reads "Deep Burls. Proceed at your own risk," which again is really weird that would even be a sign because it's not like you were driving around, the Ozarks or something like that, and it says Ozarks, enter at your own risk. It's like, what? No.
Maybe there should be.
Maybe.
It's just like.
And it's hand painted. It's not like it's a government sign. It's like somebody just hand painted it there. And so we cut to them hiking through the woods, and they're leaving a beer can trail.
Let me go
behind
back
them.
just a little bit.
All right.
So
most of this stuff I kind of skipped over.
I get it, but they do stop at a gas station.
Yeah,
and
I skipped it.
They pick up beer and food. But what I want to touch on is it's the classic cliche gas station attendant who's like, she's asking for directions to get to their location. Why do you want to go there? Don't go there.
Yeah.
That's dangerous territory, So it's very cliche. But
Yeah.
I was even thinking about it. This is 1980. This movie was made in 80. So this is like right when, Friday the 13th is hitting, right when Chainsaw Massacre's came out.
Chainsaw Massacre came out
in the
before
70s.
this.
Yeah. But I mean, it's all in that same, 5-year period, give or take. So it's still kind of fresh. So how cliche is it? I couldn't really put my thumb on it.
Yeah, at the time it might not have been as cliche. Now it's super cliche, but at the time,
man, how many times have we seen this scene?
Yeah,
but I'm trying to give it credit, trying to like let it slide because it's 1980. So I just wanted to mention that.
That's a good point. Yeah, I see why you bring it up, but I kind of skipped over because of the fact that we've seen it a bazillion times, nothing happened.
We have, but this may be one of the earlier experiences with it. Like it may have been done. It's obviously been done before, I'm sure, but not nearly as much. So it's kind of interesting to see that.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
So anyway, they buy beer. They go in the woods and are leaving like a beer can trail.
Yeah.
So like instead of breadcrumbs, these girls are getting fucking hammered,
and
leaving beers. I love it.
Yeah, but I say like if you look at one point, there's a scene where it's like a beer can. It's like how they're just like take a beer, chug it immediately,
shotgunning beers.
Shotgun a beer, take another one. It's like every 3 feet there's a beer can.
I love these girls.
These girls would be just off their asses.
Well, they kind of are. They're barely making it through the woods. They're stumbling all over the place. Yeah.
So Trina, the rich bitch one, is hiking in high heels for some reason, and she finally decides to stop and take them off, and then she steps in a pile of bear shit and moves on. But at this point we see the tall like grass kind of behind them start to move, like there's something or someone in there watching them. So I'm skipping ahead to the girls. They're lying around their campfire at night, eating marshmallows, smoking joints. They notice Jackie's gone missing, and they're like, Jackie, where are you? And then she runs out of the woods with a knife in her back, screaming, and it just turns out to be a prank.
It's a prank. Yeah,
it's another prank.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So again, I'm skipping over.
Because it's not a lot going on. It's like all bonding, very girl power. It kind of reminds me of like a Sex and the City episode.
If Sex and the City went camping.
Yeah, pretty much. This is what I feel like I'm watching.
Yeah, I'm skipping, and at this point there's like a 5-minute flashback. I'm skipping over because it has absolutely 0 point to do with this movie. There's nothing.
It kind of reinforces that they're pranksters.
Yeah, and they're 3 best friends. That 3 best friends that anyone
can
have. So. Yeah, really nothing happens except you see they getting spied on while skinny dipping in the lake at one point.
Yeah, so they're pranking. They're talking about prank. There's more pranking. They're skinny dipping. Then we see that the 2 dudes are watching them.
Yeah. So that night the girls are back in their sleeping bags around the fire. They're talking, and then suddenly they're attacked by the 2 guys from the opening of the movie. They wrap them up and tie them into their own sleeping bags and drag them away into the woods.
I do not condone violence. I don't approve of it in any way, shape, or form, especially against women, but I have never been so fucking happy to see women being attacked and as much as I did in this movie, because goddamn, the first half hour, like I said, it's like I'm watching a Sex and the City episode, and I'm supposed to be watching a horror movie, and I'm like just waiting, and I'm like, oh my god, please something happen. Finally, they come out of the woods and catch the girls. I'm like, thank God, something's happening.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's like it's a long.
It's a long road to hoe.
Yeah.
It really is. You got to have some patience.
Yeah, I totally agree. And
Because it starts off hot. And then,
yeah, it starts off good, and then
starts
you get
off hot, and then
along.
it's just this. Then you watch a Sex in the City episode, and then you're back to a horror movie.
So the taller of the two brothers is Ike, and in this scene, this guy must possess like Jason Voorhees like strength because he's dragging
Right?
a girl in each hand by a tiny string. So he's dragging two like easy 115, 120 something pound women
Sure.
by a string in a sleeping bag all the way through the woods.
And he's trucking.
Yeah.
He's not walking or struggling with it.
And he's
like,
not that big.
He's like jogging it.
I mean, he's
you know?
tall, and he's
about my size, maybe a little slimmer.
He's
you know?
slim. He's tall. I mean, the guy's like, I don't. It's hard to tell because the other guy is so short, so it's hard to tell exactly. But he looks so much taller. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't do that. To drag by one hand with a string is like
Not many people can.
that's insane. So, they take the girls back to their rundown house in the woods where they live with their mother. And the mother's watching TV when they arrive, and she has them like wipe their feet and give her a kiss before, they
present their bounty.
Yeah, they take the girls, they drag them up the stairs into a room that's been into like a makeshift home gym.
It's like a weight room, yeah.
Yeah. And the two guys, they dump the girls out and tie them up to the various exercise machines equipment in the room. And after all the girls are tied up, the mother picks out Jackie to be the first one. And we're like, what? And the sons and Ike and Adley is the name is the other Adley. Untie Jackie, put a dog collar and leash on her, and like drag her outside with the mother leading the way.
Right.
And once outside, they play games, which are basically like training scenarios for attacking, kidnapping, and raping women. And the mother acts as like their coach, complete with like a whistle and pointing out their flaws and their technique.
She's got a director's chair.
Yeah.
She's got the old timey like cone
cheerleading like bowl megaphone.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, act go. It's like she's the director. It's like she's setting the scene.
And the first game they play is called the Park Bench, where they basically kidnap or rape a girl on a park bench.
Yeah, and they're posing.
One's posing like a worker who's like picking up trash with a pokey stick, and the other guy's
acting like he's walking a dog,
an invisible dog.
Yeah, and it's like it's like, no, you fold your leg like this. They like specifically position her.
Now hold this magazine this way and sit this way.
Right, and it's kind of like weird. The mom's sitting there watching. It's a real weird scene.
And then the next game is called Shirley Temple, where they have Jackie pretend she's like a little girl. Which that's kind of creepy if they're doing it to like little kids. And like the mom's like, no, I saw her arm flying there. You messed up and blah blah blah.
Yeah, like there was an arm free. You didn't restrain that arm. She could have hit you. Like, whoa.
And all this is going on. Trina and Abby are actually able to watch this go down from like the upstairs window,
like through some of the slats in the the window's boarded up with boards, but they're able to. They're able to peek through.
Yeah. I can Adley then just like beat the shit out of Jackie and rape her right in front of the mother.
So she's got the Shirley Temple. They put her in this like little girl dress.
Yeah.
And then tackle her, start UFC smashing her face.
Yeah.
Rip her clothes off. He drops trow and then starts going to town while mom is sitting there going,
yay!
Yeah. Like,
and the other guy's taking Polaroid pictures.
Yeah,
of the
he's
whole
taking Polaroids the whole time. It's a pretty disturbing scene.
Yeah, it really is. And so after the beating and the raping, the mother tells Ike to make sure the doors are all locked up tight tonight, because she just knows that Queenie is out there.
So,
and we'll come back to Queenie. Queenie comes up later. We'll come back to her.
So there's somebody out there named Queenie that's, opposing the...
Yeah, or at this time, at least she thinks is out there. The next morning, the boys wake up to their Big Bird alarm clock while mother is fixing breakfast.
And it's funny. They're in the bathroom getting ready, like brushing their teeth with beers and arguing over, going back and forth. Punk sucks.
Disco's stupid.
And the guest goes on. I kind of liked it. I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny.
So
they're arguing over punk music and disco music.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, they both suck. All right, let's just settle it there.
And
actually, I like both of them. But how about guys? They're both awesome.
So Trina starts to like attempt to cut her binding ropes off by using like this nail she finds sticking out of the wall. And after the breakfast, mother tells the boys that they have to do their exercises for the day.
I love this scene.
And their exercises basically consist of mother acting like a drill sergeant and putting her boys through various drills and training to make them better killers, rapists, and kidnappers.
Right, like they're working out on a heavy. It's like a montage.
Yeah, exactly. And the train
So-
montage it's bonkers. Like, okay, they have makeshift punching bags they use for punching and stabbing. They crawl through tall grass like knives in their teeth.
Right.
They do cardio work and calisthenics.
Like push-ups, one guy's doing one-hand push-ups, which are pretty
jacks,
good. Yeah.
They're running through tires.
Mhm.
They smash coconuts with faces painted on them with logs. They stab and slash baby dolls. And
That was pretty gruesome.
yeah, and Ike even smashes the windows of their own house for some reason, which I thought was weird. Like,
Yeah, that was a weird one because it's like, well, I get the workout montage.
Yeah, but why
it's
are
like
you
when
breaking
you smash out your own windows, it's like you got to fix that shit.
yeah, I thought the
know,
same thing.
like,
Like, no
it's-
wonder your windows all boarded
I
up
mean,
now.
how
You keep
is this
smashing them out.
part of your daily training? Smashing,
Like, if you're gonna, we gotta practice breaking and entering in a window. Like, what? Anyway, and then the mother just sits in the director's chair with a clipboard tracking their progress.
yeah, she's like making notes
Yeah.
and examining technique, and yeah,
It's when you first see it, it's almost comical, but when you really look, if you take a second to like think about what this really is, it's like that's really fucking disturbing.
Yeah.
That's really messed up. So upstairs, Trina has managed to get herself and Abby free, and their plan of escape is to have Abby lower Trina out the window in a sleeping bag.
Now, this actually isn't, but
Jesus.
this is a throwback because during that part where that's the opening credits when they're looking at the slideshow, they even talked about, hey, do you remember that time we had a curfew at our dorm and we lowered you down in the sleeping bag and it worked? You didn't get a scratch on you.
Oh.
They even mentioned that. So
Okay.
it's like this is kind of like they talked about it before.
I
so
missed
this
the callback part, but I mean that's fine if it's callback. But
This
still,
is something
it's still,
they've done before. So
right. But
that's,
it's still just to me a bad idea.
yeah. Oh, I agree. I'm not saying it's a good idea.
But if it is a callback or something,
Yeah.
okay. So Ike and Adley, they get into like a siblings fight, and it's like a play fight, like when two dogs play fight, and
They're wrestling
Yeah,
mostly.
they're wrestling
It's
around.
mostly just wrestling and
throwing each other around.
Yeah.
And the music played here is just ridiculous. It's like almost like Benny Hill music in a way.
Kinda,
It's
yeah.
not as Benny Hillish, but it's silly. And the fight becomes like a game of cat and mouse between the brothers.
hiding,
Hiding, yeah, hiding.
I got you.
And Abby is now being forced to hold Trina in midair because Adley's like passing right underneath the sleeping bag.
yeah,
which,
she's lowering the sleeping
How
bag.
he doesn't see like the giant bright orange sleeping bag against the White House is
Well,
out of my
I
mind.
mean, he's up against the house and he's making sure that Ike isn't getting him. So and above, so I'm understanding if he's kind of looking at the end, he's not looking up and he's tight against the house. So I can kind of let that slide. And I forget the girl's name, Chicago.
Abby. Abby's hands are just getting
She's
tore up.
holding on this. What is a fucking twine?
Yeah, it's like a.
Jeez,
thin,
you wouldn't
like-
you wouldn't think to at least wrap your hands. You know this isn't going to work.
yeah,
So she's holding her friend, hovering above while Adelaide's like sneaking underneath it, and
Yeah.
her hands start to bleed.
Mhm.
You see blood spurting out of her hands.
Yeah.
This bitch is tough.
And-
My God, that adrenaline rush. She's just, I can't drop it.
exactly. Yeah,
Bleeding all
so
over.
yeah, she soldiers
You
up
can
there.
see she's
mans up.
doing
She-
everything she can not to make noise. She's like,
Yeah.
making mouth noise movements, and I'm sitting here doing it. You guys can't see it. I don't know.
So eventually, she does manage to get Tina to the ground. Tina gets out of the sleeping bag and re-enters the house so she can unlock the door so Abby can get out. And Abby shows Trina her hands, which are completely fucked up now.
Man, her hands.
I mean,
have
the one
huge
effect
gases.
it's like her hands like split in half.
Yeah, it's great effect.
It's probably to me, it's probably the best effect in the movie is that hand that messed up hand.
It looks bad.
And the two of them go looking for Jackie so they can all make their escape. And in the brothers' room, which looks like it's not like a little kid's room, they find the head.
Yeah, but it's like little kids' room but it's like dark.
Yeah,
Broken toys.
But they have, like,
and, yeah,
like little boys' sheets and like
Yeah.
action figures around
Yeah.
and toys.
they're Big Bird alarm clock and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So they find the head of the dead hippie guy in the bird cage hanging in the closet, along with another body hanging on the closet.
Whose
which,
body is this?
It's not the hippie
Nope.
girl; it's a different person.
Don't know whose it
so,
is. It's
but just another
somebody's.
body like hanging on like the
It's
door.
a woman's
hook or
body
something like
hung
that.
up. Yeah.
But
But they look somewhat fresh.
yeah,
Only like a couple days old.
yeah, it's not
Not
great,
even.
It's not old. And they find Jackie shoved into the middle drawer of a dresser, which like, okay, I don't know how a person would fit. I don't know, but I don't know. It doesn't
Maybe
seem
she's
right.
short.
but she's still alive, but just barely.
Yeah,
she's barely hanging on.
She's hanging on by a thread.
Yeah. And so Trina and Abby successfully manage to carry Jackie downstairs and are about to get out the back door when Ike comes screaming and leaping in at him from out of nowhere. He tackles the three women to the ground, yells out for Adley to come help. But luckily for the girls, the brother...
they get distracted.
They hear the mother screaming outside, and they rush off to help mother, leaving the women free to escape.
They leave him alone because mom's screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So outside, the brothers find their mother on the ground, scream about how she was almost killed, that she would attack anything. And now it just cuts away to Trina and Abby carrying Jackie through the woods.
So the mother was scared that she saw Queenie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and the boys are like, but the girls are gonna get away. The girls are gonna go away. And she's like, I don't worry about the girls. Protect me. Protect me.
Yeah.
She's more worried about herself than
and
the
she's
girls
still
escaping.
and again, let's say she still wears a neck brace at this point, the whole night. And so the two other girls are carrying Jackie through the woods, and they decide to lay Jackie down.
They're having a hard time getting
Yeah.
her through the woods. I mean, she's a dead fish. She's
limp.
dead
Yeah,
weight.
dead
It's
weight.
and, you know, they're tired. They've been up all night handcuffed, so they're pooped. They can't carry her through the woods.
And they lay her on the ground and cover up with branches that kind of camouflage her,
and maybe keep her warm.
And Trina leaves Abby behind to watch over Jackie, and she goes to get the car or to look for help.
Yeah, so Trina's got her shit together. She seems to be the most like it's compared to the other girls. Like she's like she made the escape. She came back in. She also during like the filming part, she's the one who was able to grab the fish and stuff. I mean, she's the LA girl, but she's a lot more tough than she lets on.
Sort of. I kind of, I don't know. I think it's the other way around.
I think,
but I think a shift comes. But
yeah, I agree. Their shift does come, but at first she's the one who's got the strength.
So she finds the beer can trail they left behind, and she gets to the car, which of course at this point won't start because it's been tampered with.
It's been stripped of the battery.
Yeah. And time passes, and it's now night. And Trina spots a cop car driving down one of the back roads, and she rushes out to someone, like, "Hey, help, cop!" And the cop gets out of the car, but of course it turns out to be Ike in.
Guess who?
Yeah. So somehow he's managed to confiscate or steal a cop car and a complete cop outfit uniform to pull off this.
That
hike.
isn't so surprising. And again, at first I was just like, well, duh. We know this is going to happen.
Yeah.
But again, I'm trying to give it a little bit more credit because again, it's 1980. You know, I'm trying to let it slide a little bit more. I'm keeping that in consideration. It's tough though because we've seen this kind of thing over and over and over again. But I got to keep remembering this is a 1980 film. This isn't, you know,
88,
this is
99,
exactly.
something,
You know,
yeah.
this isn't something this is a 35-year-old film, 36 really, yeah. And so I'm trying to give it a little bit of leeway, but. When I'm seeing that, I mean, I get the girl's fatigued and she's tired, but why would a cop just have his sirens on in the middle of the woods?
Yeah, because she comes out.
His lights are going.
It's not sirens, but the lights
are
are on.
Why would he have those on?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That doesn't make any sense.
I kind of overthought that one. But,
Yeah, I mean,
didn't think about that.
Maybe
but
I'm over it. You know,
no, it's a good point because they don't use that if there's
Emergency.
and if the cop's just driving down, he wouldn't have the flashers on.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ike gets out and he starts strangling her on top of the hood of the car, but she manages to like knee him in the junk, which gives her enough time to take off running. And we go back to Abby and Jackie really briefly because Jackie just ups and dies. She just turns her head over, she dies. Just done.
There's actually gunfire. So she nails dude in the balls. The guy falls to the ground and he starts shooting at
Trina, yeah.
taking shots at her. And you know they hear the gunshots, and that's when Jane goes. And just up and dies.
Yeah,
she's basically killed by a sound.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I got. She just couldn't take it anymore. She's like, that's it. They got guns now? I'm done. I'm cashing out.
And this takes us right back to Ike chasing three into the woods. And this chase scene is like 5 minutes.
It's a long scene. And it does build some suspense.
But sometimes it builds, but then it's just too much. Because during this time, there's like a 2-minute shot of her hiding behind a tree reaching for a rock.
Yeah.
And it literally takes like 2 minutes for this thing to happen. And it just goes on and on.
I get they're trying to establish mood, but it's a little...
It's too much.
Yeah. Maybe it was the 80s. Maybe people had more patience then.
And so eventually she does lose Ike, and she makes her way back to Abby and the now dead Jackie. And at this point,
she basically outsmarts him.
yeah, and Abby at this point, she changes. She just becomes at this point she becomes like a hardened killer.
This is what
she swears revenge on the bastards, and she is out for blood.
This is what I loved. So that 5-minute scene where they're running through the woods, she's being quiet, she's being careful, she's being quiet, she's being careful, she's tricking him, she's moving around, she's being quiet, she's being quiet. She tricks him, she loses him. She runs back to him, finds that Jane's dead.
Yeah, and she lifts out the
women, letting those emotions run wild. So, I mean, she did all this work to be quiet, and she sees her friend's dead, and she lets out this blood-curdling scream.
Exactly. So all your work gone.
just put up a neon sign.
Yeah, it's like we're right here.
Yeah,
here we are. So back at the house, Mother and Adley are playing backgammon. And Allie's upset because he can't be out looking for the girls. He wants to be out there, but he has to.
He wants to go with Ike.
Yeah, and Mother's like, "No, I need you here because Queenie is out on the prowl." And Adley starts questioning if Queenie even really exists.
Right. So apparently these boys have heard about Queenie their whole life,
then, like,
but have never seen.
Yeah,
her.
Queenie's just like a myth to them. It's like
the boogeyman.
Yeah, it's the old like bedtime story that people Yeah. And at this point, Mother starts explaining now who Queenie is. Now, Queenie turns out to be the mother's older sister, who she calls the most evil being on this earth. She was evil from birth. She was born with a full head of white hair. And apparently, Queenie tried to kill Mother when she was a baby in her crib by, like, strangling her, breaking her neck, which is why she still wears a neck. And that's, I should have touched on this at the very beginning, because the mother in this movie is, like, in her 70s, easily. Right. And the boys are like in their 20s or 30s. So like, she's more like she looks like she's more like a grandmother than the mother to these kids.
Most definitely, yeah. You know what? You know what's funny? I didn't even really put that together.
I thought that right away.
They are in their early 20s.
Yeah.
They're both young guys.
Yeah. And she is easily in her 70s. And she's saying Queenie is the older sister. She's got to be in her 70s, the 80s, this Queenie, who's apparently running around like a savage in the woods. At 80 years old, killing things.
Yeah, killing wolves and eating their blood.
Yeah,
she's like all kinds of like superhuman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She because they said that the grandmother, not the boy's grandmother, mother's mother, cut off Queenie's ear as punishment, and they keep it in a box as a reminder, and they show a box with an ear in it. And then Mother says she knows Queenie was set loose. And that she's been feeding on swamp rats, animal waste, and flesh. And that she even saw Queenie outrun a mongrel wolf, which is weird because all wolves are mongrels because they're wild wolves. That's basically what. And then ripped open its throat with her bare hands just to watch it bleed.
Yeah.
So this is
a savage.
Again, maybe this could have been 30 years ago when she saw it. But again, at this point, we're thinking this is an 80-year-old woman doing this. It's fucking insane. Like, I don't mind the idea of this other crazy psycho killer lurking in the woods, but once she's like, you realize this person's in their 80s, I was like, I lose it. I'm like, no way.
But they're giving the illusion of superhuman.
Yeah, but no, it's just there's no way an 80-year-old woman would survive in the woods by herself for years.
But that's why it's so like you feel bad for the kids in a way. You almost feel bad for the boys because they've been brainwashed their whole life. I mean, you see this like
I'm gonna come back and touch on that later.
Type of life they're living.
So Mother basically makes Adley promise that he and her brother will never ever leave her, and he does, and. So we go back to Trina and Abby, and they're doing like a Rambo-esque montage.
Exactly
like gearing up.
They're Ramboing up.
They're tying headbands on, and
these bitches got bad. Yeah, and, like they got ready to go kick some ass.
They're loading up weapons, and they carry Jackie's dead body back to the house and set her up against a tree
so can
dead
watch.
Jackie can watch the revenge they're about to take out on them. Yeah, Abby, these girls just went insane all of a sudden. That is crazy.
They went tribal on this shit. Yeah, they went beyond medieval. They went tribal.
Yeah, and what's even more fucked up about that is Abby kisses Jackie twice. Once on the forehead, and then again she kisses Jackie on the lips.
Dead body Jackie. And they've done it pretty...
And they hadn't even closed her eyes. They leave her eyes wide open.
Eyes are open. There's blood on her mouth, and she's kind of starting to gray.
Yeah, she's grayish now. It's like, let me kiss you on the lips. And then Abby, like, psychs up Trina and they hug. We're gonna go kill him, and you gotta get psyched up because
they're about to go for do CrossFit. They're like pumping each other up. Yeah. They're gonna go kill.
And that's what I'm saying. That's when like Abby here becomes the strong because Trina starts like she's like.
I agree. There was a shift. I agree.
A definite shift in power. And Abby's got like this makeshift raincoat backpack on with all their weapons in it and their gear.
Yeah.
And so we're jumping to the family, and they're down in the basement.
Ike's back.
And Muller's just berating him for losing 2 city girls in the woods. Mm-hmm. And she sends Adley upstairs for her woods map, for the map of the woods. Go get my map. And outside, Abby tells Trina to give her the car antenna out of the raincoat bag of weapons. Adley then hears Trina trying to like pick the lock on the door, but before he can open the door, he gets stabbed through the neck with the car antenna by Abby. Trina kicks open the door and then like chops Adley in the cock and balls with a hatchet.
So he gets
holy shit,
stabbed through the back of the neck and with the car antenna.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess if you sharpen it down,
but the problem is when you see it come through, it's got the little ball in it.
It still has a little nub on the end,
so it
doesn't stab people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the reason there's the nub, so you don't get stabbed.
But they forgot to take that off. But apparently, Abby again had such ferocity and anger that she just impaled him through the neck with the bald, rounded car antenna.
Right, and so he's got stabbed in the neck, and Trina comes in and hatchets him in the dick.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, and there's blood just coming out of his crotch. And, lumps of meat are falling out.
And then to make it where Adley stumbles back onto the kitchen table where Abby leaps on top of him, mounts him, and then like suffocates him until he dies. Just like stares like in his eyes, like
she's like shoving
cotton or like wads,
like a pillowcase almost,
like
a rag. She's shoving a rag into his mouth while he's struggling to breathe. She's smothering him. He's
and she's just like staring, like I got you, motherfucker. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So once he's completely dead, they take the body outside to basically the where we saw Jackie get beaten, raped, kind of that side of the house.
Yeah.
But then we hear Ike screaming, and then he comes crashing through head first out the boarded up second story window.
He's on the second floor,
and he like fucking swan dives.
Kamikazes smashing through these boards.
He lands on Trina, just like
crashes on top of her.
Abby gets up, runs off.
Trina's fucked up.
Yeah, he attacks Trina for killing Adley. Abby is seen grabbing a can like powdered or crystallized Drano from the kitchen.
Yeah, it's Drano. Now this is kind of in 1980. This is before you probably had to pay royalties. It was like almost a Drano ad.
There's Twix in there and Twix cereal and all sorts of stuff.
Oh yeah, that's true. And they use a song by the Johnny Walker and the Shandels.
I think we're alone now.
Yeah, I think we're alone now. They use that. So yeah.
So she has a drink. She runs up behind Ike and pours it down his throat, and then bloody foam starts erupting from his mouth, and the girls run back into the house.
Okay, I'm so glad he didn't die here. That would be just like when I see people being poisoned by chemicals and they instantly die. Being in the medical field, it's like, yeah, you die like 3 weeks later, probably, or later on. You wouldn't just die instantly. But so I'm just glad he didn't die.
Yeah.
But it fucked him up.
Yeah.
Which it probably would.
He chases after them, and he sees Trina has, like, tripped over their car seat couch, and she's on the floor.
She's back in the house. Yeah. He's cornering her.
Ike's approaching her, but he's suddenly smashed over the head with the TV by Abby.
As he's approaching, they pan over. He doesn't see it. She's hiding behind the wall. She's hiding around the corner. And she's holding a fucking TV over her head.
This is 80. These are not like the flat screen.
Yeah, this is a tube TV.
This is a giant. She's just holding it over her head.
I think it's got to weigh like 50 pounds.
Easily 50 pounds.
And, I guess if the adrenaline's going, she's not a big person.
No, Abby's the smallest of all of them.
I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it slide, but wow.
And she smashes it straight onto his head. And we see his head through the TV screen.
Through the screen
While he's like being shocked and electrocuted and he's screaming.
He dies for like a minute.
Yeah,
or he's bouncing around like a pinball in the house, and this thing keeps sparking and popping and bursting. Little sparks flying off.
Again, it goes on a little too long. In my opinion.
And it's like, dude, just fucking fall over.
And finally he tosses this TV off his head as he falls to the floor, presumably dead.
Face all burnt up, hair kind of missing,
singed and all that. Yeah,
he's fucked.
So at this point, Abby heads off to find Mother. She rushes off to go find the mother, and Trina gets grabbed by Ike, who's still alive. And they struggle for a bit, but Ike is weakened now. He's really weak that he can barely do anything except
he's
like
been
hold on to her.
and he's been electrocuted. And,
And Trina managed to get her hands on the electric carving knife that's sitting on the kitchen counter, and she uses that to just finish him off in a bloody mess.
Stabs the shit out of him. I mean,
you don't see the stab, but you just see the knife going up and down, the blood, more and more blood
splattering on Trina. And
and the knife.
She must come down with that thing about 20, 30 times.
Yeah, so
they really ham that up.
And so Abby's looking around for Mother, who creeps out from a closet and like she stalks after Abby. And we see the mother creeping down the basement stairs, and then Abby comes screaming out from somewhere in the dark and collapses on the couch with a knife in her back. And all of a sudden, Mother's laughing and she's cackling insanely,
she's like,
saying,
"You got him, boys!
Good work, boys!" And then she gets grabbed from behind by Trina, and Abby leaps up because it's the knife trick we saw that Jackie did.
It's the same kind of knife trick that Jackie did earlier.
And the two of them wrap up Mother in like a rope or a cord and pin her to the couch. Mother's screaming and yelling that she's a sick woman. Please don't hurt me. I'm a sick woman, over and over again.
And this triggers.
It wasn't until you brought that up that oh shit, this triggers again. So again, Abby, I guess, is having like fantasies of killing her own mother at this point because
the mom is saying, "I'm a sick woman. I'm a sick woman," just like Abby's mom says.
Yeah,
and so she gets fucking. You're a sick woman,
Abby. She goes from like psycho killer, like rage, like she gets like scary, creepy, like just dark and like not young. She's like, "I'll take care of you. You're a sick woman. Let your daughter take care of you. I'll tuck you in. I'll keep real good care of you." Like, it's really creepy.
You kind of give me the creeps, Marshall.
Yeah.
Stop it.
And
laugh a little bit.
Abby reaches out and she grabs an inflatable blue
this
pillow.
This kind of takes the whole thing out.
It takes all the suspense and drama out of it because she grabs like these
pair of plastic titties.
Pair of inflatable plastic titties. That's like a neck pillow. And slowly smothers Mother with it till she dies.
You're right. She was so intense, and she's staring and she's talking. She's so calm and like focused like a laser beam about killing this woman.
So many other pillows. Just grab a regular pillow, but no, they grab
one that looks like tits.
Completely, like they shoved the nipple in the mother's mouth. The nipple was in the mother's mouth when she's being suffocated, smothered by this thing.
Trauma.
And so she dies, and once Mother is dead, Abby just screams, and she has a breakdown. And it fades out, and it fades in on Trina and Abby standing over Jackie's now makeshift grave out in the woods. And at this point, I just feel like, I hope they're coming back for the buyer. That's a pretty shitty place to leave your friend.
Right.
Like, we'll bury you here for now, but we got to come back for you, because that's pretty fucked up. And Trina then says, "We survived because we were strong. We were meant to survive." And at this is where I was like, "Bitch, you didn't really do anything. Like, once the shit hit the fan, other than she
got him out.
You got yourself untied, but all the revenge was pretty much pure Abby.
Hey, I mean,
Abby was the fucking badass at the end of the movie.
I agree. Abby was the badass at the end of the movie, but without Trina getting him out, because Abby was fucking, she was shaken. At first, Trina got the ball rolling.
Yeah, I mean,
they both had their roles. Don't get me wrong. Abby, I think, throughout the movie was the stronger character, but Trina wasn't she wasn't a pushover.
Okay, all right, I'll let that slide. So the camera quickly pans over from them to this one. To we see an elderly, one-eared woman hiding behind some foliage
with long hair. Looks like a wolf woman.
Yeah,
looks like
Wolfman.
Basically.
And the woman leaps up over the bush like she's a goddamn Olympic high jumper.
Like a ninja.
Straight up vertical leap over. And it's like these bushes are like at least 5 to 6 feet tall, and she's leaping straight up over them.
And she's got like clearance too. She's like 8-9 feet in the air.
Yeah.
With, like legs up, ninja style.
Yeah.
We're talking like it looks like a wolf man.
Yeah.
There's fangs almost, sharp teeth, hair is wild, claws like
and
freeze frame.
They jump at Trina and Abby, who scream. Freeze frame on Queenie midair as the girl is screaming.
Queenie!
Roll credits. That's the movie. So actually, I wanted to touch back on this before we move on. So is like the kidnapping, raping, and killing that the mother has like her boys practice and work on. I'm guessing, is this like all a preparation just so one day they can fight off Queenie? Like everybody else is just practice because all the mother cares about is protecting herself from Queenie.
But why would they do is the raping a reward for them?
I guess because because that's the only thing. I couldn't imagine they'd rape Queenie if they ever got to her because she's 8 in her 80s. But I mean
and she's a monster essentially.
Yeah, and so it made me think which is really fucked up. If that's the whole purpose of life is they're kidnapping and murdering all these women just to practice to protect their paranoid mom from this monstrous older sister. That's kind of really weird. I mean, it kind of puts another spin on the movie if you think from that point of view.
Yeah, I mean the guys are in a way they're victims as well.
Yeah,
because mom is so crazy and delusional and backwoods and bizarre,
and they're not smart by any means. I mean, they're like
she's basically kept in that. And there's even hints of moments where they're like, Adelaide's talking when they're playing Baccarat or whatever, or backgammon, and he's like, I think Queen doesn't exist because you don't want us to leave you.
Exactly.
He says that, and she slaps him around a little bit as you defiant little man.
Ike is the one who seems to be like the. He doesn't really seem to question any of it, but Allie is the one who has I've
questions a little
he starts,
bit. Yeah,
like seeing chinks in the armor or something like that.
Yeah,
cracks in the wall.
But yeah, they're definitely brainwashed or manipulated and have been their whole lives to be the servants, or the muscle of mom.
Right.
And she manipulates them with love and affection.
So,
and look, it's weird.
Excuse me. Moving on to favorite kills.
There can be only one. Favorite kill.
Again, not a whole lot of kills in this movie because it's not that it's not a real slasher movie. But there's a few kills. Obviously, we do have a few to choose from. So, Aaron, what's your pick for favorite kill?
I think my favorite kill is the very first one. I like the machete head chop off because it's so weird. He's sitting back with sunglasses on in the back. He's just kind of chilling, like, yeah, we're gonna kill this bitch.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, whack! The head comes off, and I just love the ridiculous blood spurting out of the neck. You get to see the actual head sever, and it's not bad.
It's not bad. Again,
for 1980,
for a low budget and for the time, it's not bad.
It's pretty good. It just kind of sets the mood for what the fuck are we in for?
Yeah,
and that's my favorite kill.
All right, that's cool. Mine were either came down at one point. I liked Mother until Boo Pillows came out because that just kind of took me out because Abby's so fucking dark and just creepy
intense.
Yeah, and it's but I think I'm probably gonna go with Adelaide just because that guy just got fucked.
Woo!
I mean,
he never had a chance.
No, I mean, car intent through the neck, hatchet in the balls, and then just mounted and suffocated while Abby's just staring right in his eyes, watching him die. It's that's pretty fucking that's awesome.
It's a pretty unique. It's a
great
death.
sequence. Yeah. So that's mine, Adley. So that's it. That's our favorite kill. So let's move on to the odds and the ends.
Not only did they watch these films, they researched them too. Ugh, what is wrong with these guys?
Starting with ratings, we have IMDb gives it a 5.4 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes has a 45% on the tomato meter.
It's pretty good.
With a 38% audience score. So it's one of the... Now, it's in the middle of the pack of the movies we've done on here. And Amazon, 4 out of 5 on Amazon.
Wow.
Yeah. Plot keywords, rape.
Yeah.
redneck, satire, which I don't get that one. Like, what? How is this a satire? Human monster, and then the rest of the plot keywords is basically just words just mundane objects in the movie.
Titty pillow.
No, like stairs, graffiti, Christmas lights, binoculars, exercise machine, TV. Like really, you need all those as plot keywords?
That's weird, yeah.
Those are just things in the movie.
Those are things. Those are just things.
It's like, at that point, like, okay, what's our plot? Twix cereal.
Shoe.
Grano.
Right.
It's like shoe, grass, leaf. Like,
right.
It's retarded.
Yeah.
I
think they had an apple once. Apple.
Yeah, apple.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, hippie was not one, which I don't understand that. All right, let's move on to
cocaine.
Or cocaine.
Yeah,
there you go, cocaine.
Yeah.
Let's move on to trivia, and I was surprised about the amount of trivia I was able to find on this movie. I didn't think I'd find much, but I did. So, according to what I've dug up, the house used in the film was an actual house in the woods of Newton, New Jersey, and no one had lived there for 15 years prior to filming. The previous owner of the home was murdered there, apparently.
Jesus.
Now, take this for what it is, because this one I can't verify, but it showed up. So, prior to filming, a dead body was found in the house. Now, that could just be whoever was murdered there years and years ago was found in the house.
Sure.
Because that was still prior to filming. It doesn't say if it was like a week before they were filming, they found a dead hobo in there or something like that. They didn't say that.
Dead hobo choked on his beans.
So take that for what it will. Charles Kaufman, in the director's commentary, said that a very iconic thing happened during the filming of the movie. One of the actresses who played one of the victims and one of the actors who played one of the sons hit it off and started dating when not filming. Even though his character terrorizes and brutalizes her, concerned that neither would be able to project the sense of terror needed, Kaufman asked them to postpone their relationship until after the film wrapped, which they complied with doing.
Wow.
It doesn't say which woman and which son it was. It just
interesting.
Yeah. Also in the director's commentary, Kaufman said that while shooting a scene, Billy Ray McQuaid, who played Adley, also not his real name.
I was about to say, great name, Billy Ray McQuaid.
Yeah, it's not his real name.
Yeah.
Was so hungover from drinking the night before that he threw up on Rose Ross' mother. Naturally, the shooting scene had to be postponed.
That's awesome. I like Billy Ray McQuaid.
While we're talking about the names here, let me just mention this. Billy Ray McQuaid, Ross Rose, and Holden McGuire are names that the actors use, but none of them are the real names. They all, like, half the cast use different names.
Stage names or, like
but
pen names.
But it's not like they have bad names. Like, Billy Ray McQuaid's real name is Michael McCleary. Rose Ross is Beatrice Pons. And Holden McGuire, who played Ike, like I said, is Frederick Coffin. So it's just weird. Like, so many people use different names.
Yeah, I don't know if just people just...
And it's not like variations of their name, like, oh, we're going to change spelling or shorten. It's like completely different names. Like, instead of Marshall Hampton, I went by Alex Silver or something. Like, just some weird shit. I don't know. Make it,
I'm going to call you Alex Silver from now on. Welcome to Horror. I'm Alex Silver.
So the film was refused a UK cinema certificate by the BBFC in 1980, so it was not released and was not allowed to be in theaters. The bear turd that Trina steps in during their trek in the woods was actually edible. The effect man made it from flour and other ingredients and even ate some of it to demonstrate its edibleness to the cast. The movie's poster is a parody of the painting known as Whistler's Mother. It's actually a famous painting that you can see in the history books. 14 minutes of the film were cut in Germany in order to keep the film from having an X rating.
Ooh.
Which doesn't surprise me. The woman with the dog at Trina's party in LA is Charles Kaufman's mother, while the man snorting cocaine at the party is Kaufman's father. Like, hey, Dad, I want you in my movie. What do you want me to do? I want you to snort cocaine.
You got it, son.
And the teacher in the slideshow during the opening credits is Charles Kaufman himself.
I was waiting because they did show one of them. They're like, ew. That was probably, I was like, that's probably inside joke.
Yeah. Charles Kaufman wanted his brother Lloyd Kaufman, the founder of Trauma, to be a part of this movie, but Lloyd rejected. And now, most likely due to the fact that the original studio has gone out of business, the rights to Mother's Day have now reverted and belong to Troma, which is why when you watch it now, it says a Troma production, but at the time, it wasn't.
Ah.
So it was not a Troma production, but now when you watch it, all of the re-release, it has
Okay.
a Troma.
Yeah, because mine was it was the 1980 movie. It was, but it had a 2012 re-release.
Yeah. It's 98, but it was a Troma production or something like that in the beginning, but it was...
Just like they do with Poltergeist and Toxic Avenger and everything else.
All that Troma city skyline opening. Right. The original, I don't know which team it was because other production companies listed on this for this movie were Duty Productions and Saga Films. So one of those, I guess, or both of them probably went out of business and rights went to Troma.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the money to take a picture of the actor, the crew had to use Bobby Cowan's headshot for the picture of Ernie during the scene at the EGO, which was on that banner behind him, which is weird. They didn't have money to take a picture to put on a banner. They just used the guy's actual headshot.
That's weird.
Yeah. And you touched on this. The punk sucks, disco stupid lines that were repeated by Ike and Adley was a play on the debate going on in the world at the time, which was debating which music was better, punk or disco, because punk was just starting to come out and disco
was dying.
Disco was dying.
Disco was dying, punk was coming up, and that's one of the reasons, punk was such a violent shift from, poppy disco.
Yeah. With that said, we get to play everyone's favorite game, the budget game.
Oh boy.
Guess the budget. They spent how much? The budget game.
All right. Aaron, what is your guess at the budget of the 1980 Mother's Day?
They used some family, obviously.
Well, for extras, I don't think you really count that, but all right.
Here comes my answer. $15,000.
Wow. I didn't think you could go any lower than the actual budget of this movie, but you went way low.
Really?
Yeah, I thought you would go over.
I was trying to go with 1980s money.
I know.
And
Technically you weren't. Budget $150,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
$150,000.
My God, I was way off.
Yeah. I was just surprised you actually went under that, though. I thought you would be like 500,000, 250,000.
Well, I get fucked on this a lot. There's some of them that look like decent movies, and it's like, oh, whoa, it's made for $2. I'm like, God damn it. I suck at this.
It's all right. That's why it's fun.
Because you get to laugh at me. Yay!
Occasionally you win things.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
I get it every once in a while. Whenever, blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yeah.
Aaron finds a budget. That was a weird sound.
Yeah.
We're drinking beers, guys.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm trying. I'm trying very hard not to get that.
Throughout this episode, I have noticed a few belches coming from you.
I just have to stop drinking beers when we do this because it's really bad.
You need to stick with the hard stuff. It's a little easier on your stomach.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'll start going back to my my scotch or my whiskey, my bourbon. Anyway, so moving on to 5-star reviews.
These special movies have a place in these special people's hearts. 5-star reviews.
And there were 7 pages of 5-star reviews for this movie.
Well, maybe it is a cult classic then. Because,
maybe.
Wow, 7 pages. That's
but some
impressive.
of these are kind of disturbing when you think, at least to me anyway. So from Electronics Yoda, faked my driver's license. This is the name of the review first. Just the whole name of it. Faked my driver's license age to get in at 16. First horror movie I ever saw. Scared the bejesus out of me. Now the review itself. I'm seeking this movie out. I went for decades and couldn't remember what it was called. All I could remember from seeing it drunk at 16 in the theater
Sweet.
was some dude getting his head chopped off in the backseat of a car as the first scene right off the bat. The only other thing I could remember was some chick pouring old Crystal Drano down a guy's throat. I've got to see this again after 34 years later. I'm getting it. 5 stars.
Someone had fond memories of that film.
From Nathaniel Mosby. I was digging through the $5 bin at Walmart, and of course they had 2 movies in there with 1 million copies, and I dug to the bottom and found Mother's Day. It looked cheesy. I bought it mostly because Eli Roth stated on the front that it is his favorite horror movie. I thought, I love Hostel, and anything he recommends is probably awesome. I watched it as soon as I got home. I loved it within the first 10 minutes. The beginning is so clever. 5 stars.
I mean, Eli Roth likes. I can see how this could be an inspiration for people.
But it's like, again, if we're looking at it from 1980s perspective, is the opening really that clever?
Kind of.
Maybe for 80s, but this was written in like the 2000s. Like he just bought this and so just saw for the first time. Like the modern day, to say modern day that the opening is that clever, like not really.
But for 1980, I guess it would.
Yeah, but for the time of writing this review,
I'm having issues with this movie, Marshall.
Okay.
I'm going back and forth quite a bit.
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
Right. And from Hellseeker, I did include a star rating, but it's difficult for me, especially when others are relying on my opinion. Actually, it's my opinion. Really, Hellseeker, get over yourself. I'm not relying on your opinion. So
hold on, Marshall. Let's hear what he has to say.
All right.
Let's hear what he has to say
all
first.
All right, let's see what he says. So all I can tell you is that I like the movie a lot because 1, it's a classic. 2, it's well acted and well made. 3, the female characters played great and their friendship really comes to life in the film. 4, it stands shoulder to shoulder with Day of the Woman, aka I Spit on Your Grave. That's, in short, why I gave this movie a 5-star rating, but beware if you are sensitive to and dislike misogynistic content, then you should avoid this movie at all costs. 5 stars.
Yeah.
Fuck
I don't know if
you
really
have a really big opinion of yourself. You think people are that desperate and relying on your opinions.
Tell me, Hellseeker, what should I do about I'm looking at houses right now.
Yeah.
Let me know what's going on.
Do you have a podcast? Do you have an article in the paper we can write in for tips and advice from you?
Yeah.
I really need some Hellseeker advice. Hellseeker. All right. From Lisa R. Griffin.
Man, we're dogging Hellseeker. That's kind of cool.
I had the privilege of seeing this trauma in a theater, which wasn't a trauma at the time. I was 13 visiting my aunt in Wharton, Texas, a small town. My sis and I were the only 2 people in the theater to see the movie. So a 13-year-old girl and her older sister, maybe younger sister, went and saw this. That's fucking bad parenting right there. That's fucked up. That would traumatize, I think, some girls at that age.
Yeah. There's a lot of rapiness going on.
Yeah. From S. Ann, another girl. Great movie. This is all bold and caps, by the way. Great movie. My boyfriend, who is much older than me, decided to introduce me to this movie, and I already watched it twice without him. Afterwards, 5 stars. And your boyfriend wants to kill you. Get out.
How much older is your boyfriend?
Yeah, he's older and he shows you this.
So,
what the fuck?
Light some candles, pour a little red wine.
Let's watch a rape movie.
Let's watch, kind of a sketchy movie.
Yeah,
right.
Jesus Christ. And last one from Swankhood. One of my favorite horror movies from the 80s. It helped me get the horror comedy genre. This isn't a comedy. My mom and aunt and I watch it together. 5 stars. What is going on in that family?
I don't understand where the comedy aspect is coming from. I think maybe...
Unless it's like the exercise scene. That's the only thing that's somewhat comedic about it.
There's the disco sucks, disco stupid, punk sucks kind of
but that's
argument.
Not that comic.
And there's nothing... I don't see the comedy really in this movie. I mean, there's, I guess, kind of odder moments.
Yeah, it's
but if you actually look at it and kind of see it,
there's
it's like
not comedy at all. It's dark,
it's pretty disturbing.
And I just want to touch on the fact that she watches it with her aunt and her mother. I would not want to watch this movie with anybody I'm related to, especially any of the female persuasion. I would not want to watch it with like my mom or my aunt because personally, my side of my mom's dad's side of the family are very religious people. Would not want to watch it with them at all, and. My mom? Are you kidding? I don't want to watch a rape movie with my mother.
Nah.
Jesus, these people
like
are
fun.
fucking crazy. So that's that. Let's wrap it up. Final thoughts, recommendations. Aaron, what do you got?
I'm torn, man. I've been torn on this. So I'm actually, because I'm torn, because I'm going back and forth, because it was 1980 and because it was kind of cut from that same cloth of your Friday 13th, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, kind of that era. It's a little lower budget. I'm gonna say So Bad It's Good.
So Bad It's Good.
Yeah, I mean it's worth a watch. I think it's worth a watch. I kind of like the bizarreness, the darkness. I don't really care for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I know a lot of people will be like, "Whoa, fuck you." It's just not my style of movie. And when I first started watching this, I was like, fuck, it's going to be one of those movies where it's like torture porn.
Yeah.
I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not really into it. That's not my thing. But at least I was intrigued to pretty much the end.
Yeah, I agree. The whole torture porn genre, I'm kind of like over with. Like, I'm
But
like,
just that style,
yeah,
you
it's
know?
like, Um, but I agree with you. Like, I in my opening, I compared this movie like it's very similar like to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I Spit on Your Grave, and like a little bit of Deliverance all thrown into one. Um, but even though, like I said, we mentioned at the beginning, like, the first third movie just drags on. It's very slow. There's like a 10-minute flashback. It has no bearing on the movie whatsoever. But I too am going to say so bad it's good. It's not, and keep in mind, like we said, it even though it says trauma at the beginning of the movie,
It's not a
it
trauma
is
movie.
not a trauma. It's not like Poltergeist or Toxic Avenger or Nukem High. It's not like that. This movie for its time tried to be like legit
Right.
disturbing
Scary
horror movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, some people might say like the exercise scenes are a little comical or whatever, but overall, it's really dark. It's very disturbing, especially for its time. And I do like the fact that Abby, she just flips the switch and she becomes a badass cold killer at
Right.
the end of this.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say it's so bad it's good. It's worth at least one watch.
Yeah, I would
see
agree
it.
with that. And you know what? At the very end, I liked that they add Queenie. I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was, it's like it added a little, wah, you know, to the end of the movie.
I would like
Fun!
just for my sake. I just would like to see. I like to imagine that after the free frame is over, what we don't see is just like Abby like pull out the car intent and just stab Queen right through the neck with it, and
throw a
walk,
hatchet into her
yeah,
chest.
and just walk on it, midair stab. She dies, and they
or
just
because
walk
she's
out.
80 years old, when she lands, she just
breaks
breaks
a
into
hip,
a million
She
pieces.
just breaks a hip. Yeah, that's gonna wrap us up for our Mother's Day episode for this week.
So we recommend it. Check it out.
So yeah, check us out on Facebook. And yeah, if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, let us know. On this episode or any other episode, if you just want to say something to us, let us know on Facebook. You can also email us at sobaditsscary@gmail.com. You can check us out on Twitter at sobaditsscary. Our website is horriblehorrorpodcast.com. And you can download and listen to us on Podbean at horriblehorror.podbean.com. And you can subscribe to us, 5-star, like us, do all the good stuff on iTunes as well. Everything's free. We do this for fun. Check it out. We will be back in a week with another fun little turd fest of a movie, I'm sure. So until then, watch more horror movies, guys. Peace
All right,
out, movie
thanks a lot,
goons.
guys. Bye.